the slices, right?
Nice and thin, huh?
Oh, Jesus, nice. I don't understand. I have food here for once. Where's Steve? Look at it.
Look at the paninis.
Look at these slices.
Guys, the panini, the panini.
Okay.
Il panini.
Thank you. Another slice, right? Cari amici sportivi, welcome to yet another edition of Red Card Weekly. Here we speak mostly about SerieA, sometimes some European, sometimes some international. And yes, we were not professionals, as you can see, nor do we pretend to be. I am one of your hosts, Vince, glass half full, Milanista Tavernese. To my right, always Steve, glass half empty. Actually, you know what? Glass always empty, Milanista Luilo. And I have Francis. I'm an Interista. That's the only thing I can say about you. That's it. There's nothing to say. Look at
100% Interista Curva Nord.
Yes. Okay, guys, we got some mortadella. Yeah, we're doing a very special Italian edition of. You can be more Italian. We got some mortadella. We got. What do you guys want? Provolone or a bit of salami?
You know what I want? I want to start talking about the games. Inter Roma. We have to start with Roma. 7 wins out of 7. They beat Inter with an impressive performance. No, it was not a 3-0 scoreline. The score doesn't really reflect the game, but Roma was by far the better team. And guys, Garcia has found the right recipe, and this team is very well balanced. Only Lamela when Florenzi is scoring left and right.
Definitely, and you know what? They're very impressive. The way they've been winning. It's not just they're winning convincingly. And I was here on Saturday, and I have one of my friends, Big Ramonista, and he brought up a good point what Gervinho's been doing for these games. Creating that space, the way he's attracting all the attention towards him, the defenders are going towards there, he's always bringing off wing, and Totti has all that space. But I was very, very, very impressed by the way they're playing. And I still can't say, are they going to keep this up for the whole
Well, that's the next. I think if they stay healthy, that's the key. They have to stay healthy. Roma are showing that yes, they are contenders.
I want to bring something up to the table though. How are the other teams going to play against Roma now? They've proved that they can score with letting the other team have possession and on the counter. They've proved where they'll be able to control the ball and dictate the flow of the play. Now the other teams have seen Roma at basically both ends of the spectrum. When Juve has to play Roma, how are they going to play Roma? They've proven to win in both facets of the game. That's what I think, for me, is what's more impressive.
The question remains, who am I cutting these coconuts for? Mangiare, a bit of provolone, a bit of salami. Yes, but
guys, on Inter's side, you know what? More credit to Roma because Inter has shown a hard team to play against this year. Mazzari got them drilled. Yes, if Guarini would have scored, it might have changed the game. But in the end, guys, Inter, yes, it's a good team, but they showed a lack of quality. In terms of spirit, effort, no approach, you can't say anything against it. But
they didn't give up.
Yeah, they didn't have the quality. It showed in the end.
Here's my question.
They don't have the game break.
Here's my question to you. Icardi, every time he comes on, plays awesome. Kovacic, he had a bad game, but usually, why doesn't he start these kids? I don't understand.
Kovacic, I can understand. He didn't want to lose the midfield. Mazzari went with the physical midfield. The guys that run, that are going to be hard to push around. But clearly, Taiter doesn't have the skills on the ball.
At the beginning of the season, we were saying that Juve has the strongest midfield. Can we now say that Roma, if not the strongest midfield, the second strongest?
Yeah. Second strongest, yes. We got well of
Strutman was an excellent pick.
Yeah. In the end, guys, Ranocchia was horrible. Pereira, forget it. It's enough for this guy. This guy has no judgment.
But we know that Inter, again, the lack of quality is what hurt them against this game.
You know what's interesting to see? How will Inter react? Last year that was their problem. When they started going down, they couldn't react. Will they react this year?
I think they're still gonna. I think they still gonna impress for the rest of the year. But games like this, I think is happy. You should be happy as an Interista that happens at the beginning of the season, so you can adjust what you could adjust. But the other face of the story is, do you have the players to change what you gotta change?
The only disappointment for Roma must be that they have 7 wins out of 7, and they're only 2 points ahead.
Yeah.
Come on. Poor guys, credit to Roma. Now, let's talk about Juve Milan today. Guys, it was an ugly game. Teams couldn't play, put straight 3 passes in a row. And you know what? Juve fell into Milan's game. Say whatever you want, it was an ugly game. That's what Milan wanted. They came out with the early goal. In the end, Milan collapsed, and Juve gets out. Ugly win. Juve should have for the 10 last minutes. They played okay. They still gave a goal to Montreal with a man up. Nobody must be happy with this performance.
This was the worst thing that could have possibly happened to Juve, in my opinion. Roma, they played an Inter, which, like we said before, a lot of heart, a lot of spirit, and they dominated the game 3-0. Napoli, playing Champions League, just like Juve plays Champions League, today played a tough Livorno team where they do cause other teams problems, and they handled them with ease for that team. Let's face it, Milanese. This game here, Juve had to dominate from the beginning.
They didn't. You know what? Let's be honest. Like we were talking with our friends there at SerieA Live Radio. By the way, check them out Mondays. They do a great podcast. Obviously, they're not as good as us, but you know, you can give them a second best.
Hey, congratulations to Francis. He's number 43 on the SerieAlive.com.
Out of like
Fanta Calcio.
Out of 8,000 people. I think the Fanta Calcio is fixed. It's fixed. You got 42. But you know, we're joking around about like, you know, what are your predictions? I was like, oh, Milan 1-0, 2-1. We all knew deep down inside, right, that I didn't see us winning. Like, if we were going to win, it was going to be a surprise for all of us. Let's be honest. There was no referee controversial calls here. Okay, your regular calls. Oh, it's a 50-50 call, but guys. We can't go, non si può andare davanti così. I understand we have injuries, I understand this, but...
Notice how Vince's glass is slowly becoming half empty.
No, I want to stay half full.
It's not half full, it's half empty. There was no reason today, just from the starting lineup again, no reason that Poli does not...
Why is Poli on the freaking bench?
Guys, Poli doesn't start, but Montreal scores 2 goals. I mean,
that's fine, but Nocerino on the other side of the field didn't bring any...
But Milan was doing the job, let's face it.
It was a scrappy game between both, but in the end, nobody... It's not like Juventus impressed Milan, but they got sucked into the Milan style of play.
Should the Juventini start worrying about the way their team are playing? And Conte doesn't seem to want to switch formation.
Real Madrid, Juventus, when that's going to happen, those 2 games back to back, whatever results that come out of those 2 games, we'll see if they're in una crisi or was it just a little bump on the road right now?
Bump on the road, regardless. It's 3 weeks they've been playing like crap, and they're 3 wins out of 3, guys.
Sometimes, unfortunately, even the ugly wins, they still count as 3 wins. We said it last week. The 3 points is what counts, and they got another 3 points.
That's what, like, should the other teams worry about it that Juventus is not playing that well, but yet they're still there, guys.
I can tell you what the other teams...
They can't do worse than this.
No, but the other teams, what they're doing now is, depending on their schedule, they're saying, we can go to Juve, and we can take the game to Juve, and we can get points from Juve.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened to Milan. It's a slow process that happens, but Juve needs some dominating performance for people to come to Juventus Stadium and be scared of you. Now I think people are coming to Juventus Stadium and they are convinced that they can come out with the points.
And we're going to talk about
my best friend, my friend Sammy, the Juventino, bashing Giovinco, but Giovinco came through today for all you Juventini. So guys, take it easy on your plays.
By the way, Red Card Weekly has an inside scoop. Because Giovinco scored, Conte, I told him when he subbed him in, I'm going to buy you some ice cream if you score a goal. So Giovinco's going to get himself a nice cornetto.
Guys, elsewhere, Napoli beat Livorno. Now it's official, Benitez is going to rotate that lineup through the season.
Yeah. But they got the job done once again. Napoli, I was watching this morning off bnsports.ca off the internet in Espanol. Oh, hey, thank you very much. We're here, Canada. I'm sure losers. Okay, so they played awesome, but we're going to come back to, I can't wait until 2 weeks from now, Roma, Napoli, and I think that's going to be the one test for now. I want to see Napoli play. I'm not saying Livorno sucks or anything, but you're not going to prove anything to me, right? Scoring 4 or 5 goals against Livorno. Let's see, right? Roma impressed because you scored 3 goals against Inter, but
still, it's a good result.
It's a very good result.
I've had a good start to the season, and they've been hard to beat.
They didn't lose control of the game. That control of the game, the whole game. Hamsik was
the worst possible thing happened to Livorno. They went to the Sao Paulo, and after a couple of minutes, they were down 1-0. That deflated a team where every piece of confidence comes into play, and it hurts. The game in 2 weeks' time, Roma-Napoli. There is some kind of scheduling problem. I don't know if you guys heard it today. There's some protests going on in Rome. They might want to flip-flop where they're going to be playing this game. The first match will be in 2 weeks. Will probably be played in Naples if Roma agree because of the protest. Does that play into effect of it? Roma's been on a streak. Will it change it up? I don't know.
All right, guys. We'll have to talk about Fiorentina and Lazio. A 0-0 game. Guys, Fiorentina again with most of the possession. When you look at it, no shots, guys. No dangerous occasion, no shots. Lazio ends up with more shots. This is the story of Fiorentina, guys. A lot of possession, they don't do anything with it. Is anyone happy with this result 0-0?
The people who should be happy, it has to be Lazio. It has to be Lazio. Without closing and not doing much better with any other team against the Fiorentina who causes problems, a tie, I would take the 1 point if I was Lazio. But this is the tail of the tape for those two teams. They just don't show up. They don't have that extra quality that's needed to get the 3 points, and we pass the ball around and no one gets a result. 1-1 stalemate.
And even like, you know what, yes, Mario Gomez was there, will make a difference, but Giuseppe Rossi is not he's not gonna come like take that team up on his shoulders. Yes, your possession, your Borja Valero, your midfielders, but you need to score. And games like this against Lazio, Fiorentina has like even last week.
Fiorentina's on a run. Against Inter, they took the lead and they lost it.
Yeah, against who did they play last week? Last second, 2-2. They were winning 2-1, and they played the same thing. They lost it in the last 2 minutes. So, guys, Fiorentina. But I will come back to exactly what I said about Inter.
Man, finish eating before you talk on the show. This is unbelievable. I don't understand.
It was right there.
You're eating with your mouth when you're talking to the poor people on the channel.
I'm sorry.
Finish eating.
Like I said about Roma, about Inter, and the same thing for Milan. We're better off going through these little bumps on the road at the beginning of the season and try to push.
Whoa, the Milan bump in the road. It's not a bump.
It's a hill now.
It's the Grand Canyon of all ditches that we did.
Now, let's talk about Champions League. Let's start with Milan Ajax. Because Milan were horrible in the first half, much better second half. In the end, controversial call. They come out of there with a draw. Milan Champions League.
But it was planned, Francis.
What do you mean it was planned?
The first half was planned. We, as Milan, wanted to give Ajax the possession, 70-30.
I know you're referring to now.
Not that we wanted to take the game to Ajax, who, let's face it, Ajax is not the Ajax of the olden time.
No.
And neither is Milan, to be very honest with you. But where have we come, where we've decided to give the other team 70% possession in the first
And to
half?
come out and say this was the plan all along. Mr. Allegri said this was the plan, we wanted them to do it, then we were going to go on the counter attack.
Not even kids in AA soccer have a coach who would actually come out and say, those are my tactics for a game. Let alone a person who's taking one of probably the most prestigious Italian clubs into a Champions League. This is what we have come as SerieA.
And you know, the way the game went, you know what, yes, it's unfortunate that the penalty was called in the 93rd minute. No, it was not a penalty. Everybody's going to tell you exactly the same thing, but it's unfortunate. Everybody talks about that, but nobody's going to talk about the missed calls and blatant missed calls during the game. But that is not a reason I'm not saying this that we deserve to win, because we definitely didn't deserve
The other missed calls, very disappointing performance by Milan. In the end, guys, the three Italian teams were very disappointed in Europe, and I have to make an apology to Vince here. We made fun of it, and you know what? Galatasaray did give Juventus major problems, and that game wasn't in Turkey. It was in Italy.
I've been saying it from last year, same thing. We went through the same conversation when I said, guys, yes, they'll beat all kinds of teams in SerieA, but this 3-5-2, they're not going to go nowhere in Europe. And Galatasaray, kudos to them. Bonucci looked like Navera Bonucci on that play with Drogba. These are guys, Drogba is a game changer. Schneider played very well as well, but you're not going to go win the Champions League with a team like this, with this kind of style. And I'm going to relate my red card after, because I'm going to talk about my red card but again, once again, now, the way it looks, guys, they need a result against Real Madrid, those two games. You cannot come out of there with a loss and a tie, because Galatasaray is going to beat Copenhagen. And I said it 2 weeks ago. If they qualify, we'll be at the last very day. Those were my exact words.
Conte in Europe, don't you think he should have taken the occasion to try something differently? He went to Denmark, he could have tried something then. At home, why don't you try a 4-3-3, or in Europe he's going to have to look to try something else?
You're still this time. That's come on.
Oh, that's your red card.
You know what? That was my red card, but you know what? Yeah, I'm waiting for Simone Pepe to do my 4-3-3. Oh, stupid! Giaccherini, why'd you get rid of him? And you're going to tell me that a guy like Marchisio, that if you really need to rely on him, you don't think he can play the wing for you?
But that's the problem with Juve, guys. Now, they got rid of Giaccherini, they let Maroni go on loan, they didn't replace these guys.
But no, but he's talking about Simone Pepe, like Simone Pepe is like, what's his name there? Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale, Simone Pepe sono la stessa cosa.
Well, not forgetting this week we saw Isla inserted into the lineup. think Udinese really cashed in on this guy. He's not very impressive.
No.
He's not, if we put him next to Simone Pepe, another ex-Udinese, because Juve uses Udinese as a little farm team, they're not really that much of a different player, so the 4-3-3 could have been played. I don't think Pepe is that much better than Isla. So when Pepe comes back, do you think the 4-3-3 could happen? Think about it.
But one thing's for sure, guys, there's no team in this world that's going to go in Champions League, win Champions League with 3 defenders.
Well, if they tried a 3 against Madrid, we saw it worked out against Bayern last year. Sama Shofe.
Why?
All right, finally, guys, Napoli, everyone was excited the way they played against Borussia. They went to England, and Italian teams have had a hard time throughout their history to play in England. And you know what? They got slapped.
Yeah.
They weren't on the same playing field.
But I don't know, Steve. I watched it. You watched it. It's like forget like that mistake by Britos, and like it looked like the whole team was looking at him. It's like you let us down. It's like.
But beyond that, the midfield looked overwhelmed. Berani, which is not a great midfielder, but he's a workhorse. He looked tired. He looked like he had no legs. The midfield totally got overwhelmed.
He looked like a chicken without a head. He was running around. Arsenal, we all know they hold possession a lot.
Very technical team.
Very technical. So when they're going to be on the ball, no matter who's on it, they're going to do something with that ball. It's a lot of positive play. Napoli, they looked a bit shell-shocked. I don't know if it's the England portion of it at the Emirates. It's not a very intimidating stadium.
No, it's not.
There's much more stadiums that are much more intimidating than that, the Bernabeu, and so on and so forth. So Napoli should use this as a bit of a wake-up call, and they live.
And
Champions League is a different animal.
And
You cannot defend, and Napoli defends at 3 as well.
What we're talking about?
And doesn't get the result.
Can't do it, guys.
Milan, they defend that too.
They don't really defend with 3 with Benitez, guys. They're up front. They defend with 4 guys.
Okay, we'll say 4.
All right.
They use a 3-2-3-1.
Milan defend that too, but that's just because 2 of the guys are totally hopeless.
That's it. Yeah. We have 6 defenders, but only 2 of them actually.
And you know what, that Ozil, a lot of people were saying, yeah, Ozil, fantastic player, but he's not the type of player Arsenal needs. You know what? He was the game breaker.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
all right, we'll go to our red cards of the week.
Now I gotta think about a new red card.
Okay, so I'll
No,
go
yeah.
mine, so you can think about yours. My red card goes to the ref of Sampdoria Torino. Guys, there were an extra time in the first half. Sampdoria takes a free kick, goalie makes a save, rebound gets tapped in, the ref whistles as soon as the goalie made the save. Guys, it's unacceptable to make that type of call, especially for a team like Sampdoria that's battling for survival right now.
Sampdoria needs so many points, and they always get on the bad side of an unlucky call. This was terrible. It's always a black mark on the league when stuff like this happens. This happens in garage leagues. These refs, they get paid money to make the right decisions, yes, but there's a bit of logic that needs to go on. This is a forward action play. The rule states if you're in a position to score a goal, the play must continue. After a free kick, the rebound, the play should have continued.
So, shaky call. Steve.
My little red card of the week today, I'm going to go very relaxed there. I don't understand. We live in Canada, for everybody else who watches from countries abroad. In the winter, in October, November, we hit minus 30 or minus 1. You know, guys, about that? And we rarely wear a hat or gloves. Today, we see Signora Cassano with gloves on. Yes, winter sports gloves, we call them now. That's the term that's used. I checked it up
With
online.
short sleeves too, no?
With a short sleeve shirt and shorts on. Where is the logic coming where these players are now wearing gloves to play? Greats have played this game in the winter with 2-3 feet of snow on the floor and barely a t-shirt on. The Adidas shirts from the
blame
past.
Cassano. But today, he showed up with a goal and 2 assists.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. Wear the matches.
Okay, wear the gloves. If that's gonna, if I choose him every week and he wears the gloves in the SerieA Fantacalcio, by all means wear the gloves. I don't care.
Vince, did you think about something?
I did think about something. Cristiano Appiati, Nonno Appiati, on that goal of Pirlo. That was not a great strike by Pirlo, far from it. How do you not stop that ball, Appiati? Svegli, Appiati! You're over there! You're trying to go, get the stupid ball! I want people to make him score Pirlo. You know how I feel about him, goddammit.
Guys, thank God for my 2 Milanista friends here. Next week, no SerieA, so they'll have 2 weeks to recover, to relax, to calm down.
To drink some
So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. We will talk about the national team in 2 weeks. And that's it. We'll see you guys soon.
Check us out on Italian Football Daily. We have our video streaming up on those sites where the writers are young and fresh with new ideas.
Fresh
we'll
and young.
see you next week.
Ciao.
The week after.